Hey guys, can you hear me? Everybody?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Chris, I'm just gonna let you take it. My Wi-Fi is so slow, and so I'm everything's pausing on my side. So I'm just gonna sit back. Okay.
No problem. Cool. Well, you guys probably got the email. Today we're going to talk about mindset stuff, and there's so much within mindset. I mean, there's goals to the way we communicate to ourselves, casting vision, setting goals around triathlon, setting goals around work, life, and all those things. And so what I wanted to do is kind of focus on like goals, like how do you move forward in your life, in every aspect of your life. And in anything that you do, you have to have a clear target of where you're going for. So that's like step one, right? Like if you're shooting an arrow and you're shooting it at a bale of hay, you may hit the target, but you're not necessarily aiming for the target. So you have to identify like what is it that you're after and be as specific as you possibly can. Because when you have clarity about something, only when you have clarity can you actually know what you're moving towards and what you can focus on. Because what you focus on is what your reality is going to end up being. So you can focus on negative things. You can focus on things that go wrong, things that are not going your way, like in a race situation or in life, conversations, difficulties, work, whatever it is. If you focus on the negative aspect, then your feelings are going to be negative, and then your actions and your behaviors are going to be negative and draw you down and bring you down. And so the process is to look at what is the positive things and what are the things that you're gaining out of the experience. And so the target and clarity is the first thing that you must have. And then when you define what it is that you want, it's taking it as if you have absolute total belief and faith that it can happen.
There you go.
Right? So you have to have belief and faith that it's something that you can achieve and something that you can do without even knowing if it's possible. Because the how, like how you get something, comes second. The first thing that you have to identify is why you actually want something. So we're going to talk about like thinking about what you want in your life and then attaching like reasons why you may want those things, because the reasons why is what's going to drive you towards accomplishing those things. If you try to come up with the reasons how you're going to do it, then you'll get overwhelmed, you'll get bogged down, and you won't move forward. And so for me, as far as specifically around triathlon, when I got started in the sport, I had no experience. I didn't start till I was 25 years old. So I didn't start as like a junior or like in high school or college. I started at 25, had no experience. But before I even started my first triathlon, I set goals for myself. I set a vision for what I wanted without even knowing how to do it or how to go about it. And so part of that process is casting out something that is something that you can wish for, right? Like thinking back to when we were kids and your parents asked you what you wanted for Christmas, you didn't put parameters on what you were going to ask for. You asked for everything. At least I did, right? It's like, what do you want for Christmas? It's like I would come up with like, I want this game, I want a bike, I want a new skateboard, I want like anything and everything I could possibly think of. I would say that's what I wanted. I didn't have to sit through the process of going, is that realistic? Do I have the skills? Can I really make that happen or not? But as adults, we seem to tend to like gravitate toward, well, I can't think about that because I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know if I have the skill sets to do that. So why has to come first. And then once you have the why and the reasons for it, then you'll come up with the answers, right? So purpose is stronger than outcome. Purpose is stronger than outcome. So just setting the outcome is not going to drive you to completion. You got to have a purpose that drives you towards it. So for me in triathlon and wanting to be the best in the world, I set a goal before I did my first race. Didn't ride a bike, didn't run. I said I wanted to be world champion. A lot of people laughed at me. A lot of people said I was crazy. A lot of people said that was unrealistic. You're dreaming. But I had such a strong belief and faith that, and I inspired myself enough that I knew that I could get there if I just cast that vision and had all the reasons why. So my reasons why were beyond just the accomplishment, because just the accomplishment won't get you what you're actually after. What you're after is how you're going to be and what you're going to be like in the process. Like, who is that going to make you as a person? Who is that going to make you as a person? Who is that going to make you in your relationships? Who is that going to make you in your environment? Like all those things, and what you're going to give back. How are you going to utilize whatever it is that you're going after to serve you and serve others? So always coming from a place, for me, it's always coming from a place of how can I serve somebody else through the process? So get clear on what your why. And a lot of times, like, we settle for where we're currently at. We settle for our current environment. We settle for our current ability in the sport of triathlon, our current ability in what we can do in the swim. You know, I can only swim this pace because it's the pace that I've always swum, and I can't get any faster. You settle for where you are in your bike or where you are in your run or your results. You know, we get so result driven and looking for times. How many of us set goals based on time? Like, I want to swim this time, I want to bike this time, and I want to run this time. And that's, a lot of us do that, but that's an unrealistic process, in my opinion, on getting what you're after. Because how many variables are there in matching those times? I can think of like a ton right now. Swim course could be long, the bike course could be hilly, the winds could pick up and be in your face. There's so many variables, but if we're judging our performance and judging our ability of our outcome that we're after based on time, you're setting yourself up for failure. And then when you don't meet that time coming out of the water, the dialogue or the story that you could potentially tell yourself is, I missed that goal. I'm not doing very well. This is not my day. And if you're having those thoughts, then your feelings are going to be like, man, I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I didn't do enough training. Why am I out here doing this? How many of you guys have had thoughts like that while you're in the middle of a race? I mean, to be honest, probably every single I have, right? And so in that process, like, if you're looking for those, you're going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to focus on the negative, and you're going to feel negative. And then what's going to happen when you feel negative? You're going to perform negative. You're not going to have that confidence of riding well or swimming well or running well. So it's the thoughts that you have create the feelings, and the feelings become your behaviors and your actions, right? So it's really like, who do you want to be in whatever goal you set? If it's in triathlon and racing a certain time or finishing in a certain place or excelling or moving, it's the process that you're truly after. But it's really asking the question, who do you want to be, or what are you after in your life that is driving you towards pursuing and pushing your limits to see how well you can do in the sport? Or in anything in life, in business or relationships or finances, because it's not the money you're after if it's finances. If you want to get to $1 million in your bank account, it's not the $1 million that you're after, because $1 million is just, if it's in paper, it's just paper. It's not worth anything. So what you're really after is what you think the $1 million will give you. Right? So it's like, again, it's like the $1 million that you're seeking, or whatever the financial gain that you are looking after, is really not about the money. It's about what you think the money is going to give you and make you be. Like, how are you going to live if you have that? Is it going to give you cars to drive? Well, it's not really the car that you want. It's the experience of driving that car. If you want a convertible, it's probably because you have a dream that you want to have the top down, and you want to drive through the valley, or you want to drive along the beach and have the wind blow in your hair. You want to have an experience. You want to feel free. You want to feel the sunlight. You're after something. And if you can identify what it is that you're after, then you can have a more powerful process in looking for what you truly want. So what I like to do is to go through some of these goals, or a process of doing these goals. But it's also like, how many guys have set goals every New Year's Eve? I mean, I think we all have. Yeah, we've all set goals for New Year's Eve. And how many of us within the first couple of weeks or the first month or so forget about those goals? Because it just becomes a process and a habit. Oh, let me have this goal, and you throw it out there. So if you don't take goals seriously and you don't focus on them, then they're not going to come, they're not going to come towards you. Like I said earlier, it's like what you focus on is what you become. So if you're not focusing on the goals, then you're not going to move yourself towards that. So you have to take goals seriously. You have to take this process seriously with intention. And I asked you guys, if you guys had opportunity, you had near you to grab a pen and a piece of paper, grab a journal, grab a notebook, grab your phone if you're on your computer. So grab a pen and a piece of paper. And what I want to do is I want to go through this process of understanding what your desires are. So someone told me that the word desire in Latin means of the Father. So of the Father. So for me, that's God is giving me, he created me and he gave me desires and vision. And if he gave me a desire, it's coming from him. He already knows that it's within me. So if you already know a desire that's coming to you and your Father is giving it to you, he believes that it is something that you can achieve. And again, it's not about the thing, it's about who you want to become and who you want to be. So we're going to start breaking that down. Absolute faith and expectation is this process. So I want you guys to close your eyes for a second. And I want you to think about, I mentioned like when you were a kid and you got to write down a list for Christmas, and you could write anything down and you could mail it to Santa. You had this belief and expectation, faith and expectation of like, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to get anything that I want. And so it's the same thing. Like you have to be in that same process as we go through this of going, anything I dream of, anything that comes in my mind, any thought that comes through, I'm going to want you guys to write it down as we go through this. So don't try to filter it. Don't try to be extra realistic or put limitations on it. Just write it down because it's just for you to process. And we're going to take a few minutes to go through it, and you guys can go ahead and open your eyes. But I also want you to think about a time where you felt confident. And that can be around a relationship. It can be around work or achievement. It can be around a workout that you did or an event that you accomplished. You crossed the finish line and you were like, I nailed that. You felt confident about your performance. You felt confident about where you are in your life. So thinking about that and bringing that into this process. So what I want you to do is I'm gonna have you guys start writing, and I'm gonna guide you through it. But the first thing we're gonna go through is you're just gonna categorize about personal development and about ourselves. So this is a category of things that you may want in your life, attitudes that you may want to have, personality that you want to have, emotions that you want to carry, travel, can be finances. We're going to cover like a lot. So there's a lot of process that we can go through this and get more detailed, but I wanted to kind of give you guys broad strokes and go through it in a broad form. And then you guys can go back and do the same process on your own in each category. I would encourage you to go through it in like, who do you want to be as a person? What experiences, what emotions do you want to experience? What relationships do you want to have around you? What you want your life to look like. And then looking at sport, like what do you want in triathlon? What do you want this year? What do you want in the next 5 years? What do you want to accomplish outside of this? What other dreams do you have? And then looking at like finances is one, like business wise, like what do you want in your business? Because a lot of times the results that we have today, the reality of where we are today is based upon our past. And so we can take our past and look at what we've achieved, and we attach that to our limitations of who we are today and who we can become. So it's dropping our belief systems from our past and go, let's dream for something that I am unsure about or maybe scared of, and step into it and see what comes through. So when I start talking, I don't have any music to kind of like play in the background, so you have to bear with me. There may be some silence. But what I want you guys to do is just start writing anything that comes down in these categories. And I want you to anything from 6 months period of time, like you want to accomplish this or you want to have this in your life, anytime from like immediate to 20 years. So 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, 20 years. And I want you to think of everything that you can possibly think of. So let's start writing down, just start going through like what skills do you want in your life, and write as fast as you can. Don't try to process it. Just start writing and don't let your pen stop. So think about what skills do you want in your life? Who do you want to, what kind of characteristics do you want to have in your ability to perform? What do you want to be? What do you want to be in your life? How do you want to show up? Do you want to be filled with joy and purpose every day? Do you want to feel love all the way around, like all around you at all times? What fears are in your life that you want to attack and break? Write those down. What social goals do you want in your life? Like, who do you want in your life? What people do you want in your environment? What kind of friends do you want? What kind of activities do you want to do? What do you want to learn? Do you want to increase your knowledge every day? Do you want to learn a new language? From what you're learning or what you want to learn, where do you want to go with that? Is that something that you dream of creating a career or an opportunity or a passion in serving or giving back? Where do you want to travel? Think of all the locations that you may want to go, dreams that you have of accomplishing different things. It can be around sport, an Ironman. Like, what do you want out of yourself? Do you want to summit a mountain? Do you want to ride someplace you've never ridden before? Do you want to come to Hawaii? You want to go to Kona or the World Championships? What are your goals around that? Think about like your spiritual goals. What spiritual goals do you want? What do you want to, how do you want to treat others? What do you want your relationship with God to look like and to be? Yeah, how do you treat others, and how do you want to treat yourself? What do you want to experience in your life? Where do you want to live? Where's your dream place to go and to live? Think about what you want to give and who you want to give it to. If it's a financial thing, how much money do you want to give in your lifetime? What do you want to give of your time or your talents? I mentioned this before, but like, who do you want around you? What do you want to do in work? What financial goals do you want? How much do you want to make this year? How much money you want to make in the next 5 years or 10 years or 20 years? How much savings do you want? Think about what kind of house you want. Again, if you haven't written down, think about those goals that you have physically. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain weight? How much weight do you want to lose? Do you want to get stronger? Do you want to be a better cyclist or runner? Do you want to be able to run a certain time in a 10K or a 5K? What do you want your boyfriend or girlfriend to be like? What do you want your spouse? How many kids do you want? Think about everything. You can put everything out there. So we're going to wrap this up in about 30 seconds. So keep writing as fast as you can, anything that comes up that maybe I didn't guide you through, but that you thought about. Whatever's come to your heart or your ideas or your desires, and just write them down. Okay, 15 more seconds. Try to wrap it up. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at that long list that you have, and I want you to circle the things that, so I want you to identify what are the 1 year, 5 year, and 15 years or more. So 1, 5, or 15. So anything within this next year, circle and put a 1 right next to it. Anything that you want to accomplish in the next 5 to 10 years, circle it and put 5 or 10. And then anything in the 20 years or longer, circle it and put a 20. Try to pick the things that move you the most. Pick 2 or 3 in each category. Personal development, emotions, experiences, business. And then I want you to take a separate piece of paper or another screen on your iPhone. And I want you to write down, let's just do the 1 year right now. So this is a process. I encourage you to go back to all of these that you circled that are the most important. So if it's 5 in each category of 1 year, 5 in the 5 year, and 5 in the 10 or 15 years, I encourage you to at least do those in the next day. But right now I want you to take 3 of the 1 year goals, and I want you to write them down on a separate piece of paper. Just start with 1 right now. And I want you to write it down. And I want you to start thinking of all the reasons why you want that one goal. What is it that you believe that it's going to give you? How is that going to make you feel? What is the experience that you're going to have with that? Who will you become if you accomplish that goal? Just imagine if you accomplish that, like, and you have those emotions, you have that feeling of accomplishing it, what is it that is going to fill you and make you desire to push towards that and finish that? What's going to come in your life by hitting that goal? And then think about what are the things in your life that if you don't accomplish that goal is going to happen. If you don't move in that direction, what are the consequences? What are the things that will happen in your life that will keep you either stuck in the place that you are or keep you from falling into the person that you're meant to be? Let's come up with all the positive reasons and the expectations that it's going to give you. And think of also all the consequences that will happen in your life if you don't achieve it. For me, I was driven very much by love and very much by the people around me and the influence and the things that I can have. Like this, what I'm doing right now is my purpose and my passion. And it's taken me years to figure it out. But that was always a part of my original passion and goal in the sport of triathlon. That's why I wanted to become world champ. I never made the world championship. I didn't win, but because I set a goal that was so big and so lofty that the drive to get there was pretty strong. But I finished second. So if I didn't set such a big goal for myself, if you don't set vision that is beyond reach, then you're not going to reach even close to that. If I just said I wanted to go to the Ironman World Championships, well, then the best result I probably would have had would maybe have been 30th or 40th. So identifying what you want, lofty goals, putting it out there, and then you'll figure out the plan. So first reason is why. And then I'm going to close this curtain real quick because it's going to get hot. So yeah, so like, why do you, so set all the reasons why, put it all down there on paper. And the stronger that you make the why is going to be the driver that's going to get you there. So I encourage you to spend more time doing that. And then it's coming up with a plan. Then the how comes, right? So if you have a drive to do it, you're going to figure out a way, because now you're aware. So if your mind is aware of something that you want, all of a sudden things will start showing up. So like, how many of you guys have like wanted a car for yourself that you've always dreamed of having? And then when you go and you buy the car, or you take a focus of the car, all of a sudden you see the car everywhere. Your mind will filter out things that it doesn't think it needs. So if you put a desire out there for something that you want, then all of a sudden it'll start showing up, and you'll find resources and ways to accomplish that or reach that. So be very specific in those things. Clarity. Yeah, and then coming up with a plan. Then you go to that next step. But the biggest thing is to go through that process and then taking action. So then it's identifying, what can you do in the next 24 hours, or what can you do in the next hour that's going to move you towards that goal or any goal. So go through all of these goals, come up with all the reasons why, and then take action immediately or in a short period of time that moves you towards that. And so some actions can be as simple as just telling somebody and sharing it with somebody. Because as soon as you vocalize it and communicate it and share it, your mind believes that you've just committed to it, because you did. You just committed it to somebody. And so then there's this feeling of being held accountable, that it's realistic. How many times do we have desires that we don't share, because if we share that, then you know that you're going to be responsible for following through, and you're not sure if you can do it. So force yourself in just telling somebody. Send out an email, send out a text, make a phone call, and be like, hey, I just want to share a couple things with you. This is what's on my list for the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Tell somebody. And then find some action that you can take tonight before you go to bed that's going to move you towards learning how to do whatever it is you want to do. Go find a book. We have so many resources. Go on the internet. Go find a coach. I mean, you already have amazing coaches through this community. If it's revolved around that, whatever it is, just taking action towards that and finding ways to learn, to improve, or to move you towards whatever topic or whatever thing that is. And then keep working on that process. What can I learn every day that's going to move me towards that? And it's just showing up. For me, every day when I would wake up in the morning, my goal was to be a world champion. So every day I woke up, and anytime I opened up the refrigerator, I would look in the fridge and I'd say, what would a world champion eat? When I went to practice, or if I hired a coach, if I want to coach, if I want to be world champion, what coach do you think would be the best coach for me to coach with? At that time, it was Mark Allen, 6-time world champ. Didn't know him, reached out to him, found ways to get in touch with him. He wasn't coaching yet. And I asked him if he would coach me, and he coached me. And so I had a 6-time world champ coaching me because I had a desire to be world champ. If I didn't have that goal, I would have just gone to anybody. So whatever your goals are, mine was about performance that had reasons for that. But whatever your goal is, finding experts that are experts in that field. Best of class. Who is best of class in that direction that you want to go? Read a book every day that's moving you towards that. Make phone calls, set up things that are going to move you towards that. And that's where it starts. But clarity in the vision of what you want is number one. So I hope that was helpful. I think I went over a little bit, but I wanted to kind of get through that. But I would really encourage you guys to go through as many of these as you can today, and don't let it pass by, because if you let it go too long, then you're just going to forget about it. It's going to move on, and then next week you're going to forget about it, and then everything's just going to go back to the way it was. So if you're happy with where you're at in every aspect of your life, then you're on cruise control. But I don't know about you, but for me, it's like, I'm not done yet. There's so much more that's out there for me. And if I better myself, then I know I can show up better for all those people that are around me. So it's infectious for me. That's one of the reasons why I came to this team and this community. So you guys are doing an amazing job already, but I just want to keep encouraging you. So.
Thanks, Chris. Well, guys, yeah, Chris, really appreciate that. That was very valuable. Hopefully you all wrote down a lot of things. I know I did. I went through about 3 pages. So if I would encourage you guys, especially the part of tell someone, that's what we're here for. tell your coach what do you want, you know, get them on your team fully to support you, and go from there. So guys, thank you for your time. I did record this, so if you guys want to review it again, I feel like I would watch it again because there was just so much there. So we'll put that out tomorrow on YouTube and Spotify, and then I would go through it again and keep writing, and then let us know what you need. Okay, guys, have a great Sunday, and hope you have a great week ahead. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks.